preferably with social service backgrounds and with engaging personalities. The most successful educational approach to the Negro is through a religious appeal. We don't want the word to go out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. And the minister is a man who can straighten out that idea if it ever occurs to any of their more rebellious members.
Woo!
Ain't that something?
Ain't that something, right? Ain't that something?
Amen. Warford D. Muhammad. He made that very clear.
So is that American Federation still in existence?
Now, I don't know. I know that was a pretty old.
Well, if they're not, you got the Hilda, the one that's supporting Trump now. I can't think of the name of it. I'm not talking to H. Hill. I can't think of it.
Yeah, it just touched my brain. I couldn't pull it out.
But you know, another thing is, not only with Bill Gates, Bill Gates has coupled the same thing that she talked about, the elimination and genocide of African American people or African people, with also, I should have wrote it down. In the 1600s, it was a guy, or 1700s, a guy who did calculations that said around this time now in history, that it would not, the earth could not produce enough food.
Depopulation.
Madness.
Yeah,
Malthus.
It is like Malthus.
Malthus.
Malthus. And it said, and what's happening is Bill Gates has been pushing inoculations. They have, because I was a biochemist at one time, major. I asked my professor, because I was looking at all the political leaders who were dying of cancers that they could food going. And he laughed. He said, you can give somebody a shot of cancer causing disease that won't show up for 15 years. And so I'm thinking that I've been telling a lot of African friends that I've been coming, y'all need to check out the inoculation that's being pushed. Bill Gates is really pushing in Africa. And he's saying 15% of the world population has to die because there won't be enough food.
Yep.
And it won't be for everybody. It's going to be for the special billion trillionaires. Right?
So here we go. We go to the movie Soylent Green. You ever heard of Soylent Green?
Let me see it. We
Y'all
need to
know-
look at it.
oh,
We need to look at it because that whole thing.
Yeah, you gotta watch Soylent Green. Go ahead.
Now see, Bill Gates said that, but what does the law say? He will provide for you and for your children.
Well, you know, the white
So the Quran, if we stick with that, we know what they're doing is diabolical.
No.
You know.
So,
Yeah.
Well, what they do is they control your perception through their programming. So they make you think that this stuff is real. But
that's why our program back in the day was to do for self.
I want to try to get to
Do for self.
this point. Hold on.
see, God plans too. A lot of things, a man got these plans, but Allah got the best plan.
But now, here we go, y'all. Watch this. The first recipient, because they started giving out what they call the Margaret Sanger Award. The first recipient of the Margaret Sanger Award, the first Sanger Awards were given in 1966 under 4 categories: human rights, medicine, leadership, and service. On the 50th anniversary of Planned Parenthood's founding, the award in human rights was presented to who?
Bill Gates and his wife, right?
This was in 1966. This was
66.
This was the first Margaret Sanger Award.
It could be Martin Luther King.
Woo! So you on fire today. Oh my goodness. Goodness gracious.
He said could be.
And also, didn't she say get a preacher? A preacher?
That's what she said.
Did she say that?
That's exactly what she said.
God, brother, you make it clear, brother.
Better try to connect the dots.
Make it clear, brother.
So let's go to 1971, where a group of whites broke into the FBI office in Media, PA, right?
Yeah.
And they found some documents. And they said they knew they was going to find something corrupt. They found these documents, they took them, and within that was COINTELPRO, right?
It was.
where the FBI was saying that they had infiltrated and were watching the groups, the black groups of that time, right?
Yeah.
They said they were watching Malcolm X, Elijah Muhammad, Stokely Carmichael, Martin Luther King Jr., right? Now, they said Stokely Carmichael had potential. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't give you the rest of it. They said the reason why they infiltrated these groups was to prevent the rise of a black Messiah.
I
Right?
remember that. I remember that. I remember that.
And it's even portrayed in that movie. They talk about it in that movie, Judas and the Black Messiah. That new movie they put out a few years ago. So, Stokely Carmichael, they say he had potential. They said Elijah Muhammad was too old,
Yeah, I remember.
right? So he wasn't a threat. They were definitely afraid of Malcolm,
Oh, yeah,
right?
Definitely. That's why they assassinated.
Martin Luther King Jr. They said they wasn't worried about him. This is what the document says. They weren't worried about him as long as he was following their agenda.
Oh, we were following their agenda.
Right.
How did
So,
Stokely Carmichael die?
He died of cancer.
No, he died of cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he died of
Wow.
cancer.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the thing about it is, he was way over in Africa.
Yeah, he was in Africa when he died.
But they brought him back to America to try to treat him.
Mm.
Then he went back over there again. So the thing about it is, we have to begin to ask ourselves, although we know the answer. If he was over there eating so good and living so
They
good,
come back over here and then go back. They
Well,
gave him something.
Well, you got to think about it.
Didn't I just say that?
Weren't they following Malcolm when he went overseas?
definitely,
Mhm.
Yes,
definitely.
they
And he
were.
almost
Right?
died. They
Definitely.
was they
Yeah.
poisoned
They
him.
He
should,
said
you're
that-
right.
Yeah.
Right?
You're right.
But you see, I know Stokely. I knew Stokely and Howard.
Mm.
I knew a lot of brothers before they got black. Stokely was all up in white women. Stokely had problems from Jump Street. I didn't get black men in stores like that. And all of a sudden, he's super black. I never really
I was
trusted
trying to think
Stokely.
of his name. He changed his name.
Leroy Jones.
No.
I know Rick.
Stokely.
Something Torre? Was it?
Yeah, it was
Sequel
Torre.
to, was it wasn't sequel to Ray.
It was Torre was something. I think it was Torre too. Because he was over there in that particular country where Torre, I think, was the president at one time. Torre took him in after he divorced Miriam Makeba.
All right. But now watch, because I want you to see the rest of this. Other black leaders who supported Sanger. The Negro Project and associated campaigns were nevertheless
Dubois, Clayton Powell.
widely supported by such black leaders as Mary McLeod Bethune,
Oh my God.
Wow.
W.E.B. Du Bois, and Reverend Adam Clayton Powell
That
Jr.
hurt. That hit the gut right there.
Influenced strongly by both the eugenics movement and the progressive welfare programs of the New Deal era. The Negro Project was, from the start, largely indifferent to the needs of the black community and constructed in terms and with perceptions that today smack of racism. Right? Now, Margaret Sanger Award recipients. Notwithstanding what we know about Sanger, each year since 1966, Planned Parenthood has continued to hand out the Margaret Sanger Award to honor the legacy of its founder. And liberals covet that award. Covet that award. The 2014 recipient, who do you think it was?
14?
2014. They received the Margaret Sanger Award. Who do you think it was?
Obama.
You said Obama? Let's see who it was. It was...
I can't see that far.
Oh, don't worry. So I make it small like this so I can get you to guess.
Yeah, you got
Nancy
Nancy
Pelosi.
Pelosi.
Uh-oh, we got... When Blank received the award in 2009, she said during her acceptance, "It was a great privilege when I was told that I would receive this award. I admire Margaret Sanger enormously. I'm really in awe of her. There are a lot of lessons we can learn from her from the causes she launched and fought for and scarified? I can't see it. For so greatly." All right? Who do you think that was?
Don't say Oprah.
Yeah. Nope.
Oprah,
This
that's good.
person was
Condoleezza Rice.
Hillary Clinton.
Mm.
Okay. So,
I can see that.
yeah.
can see that.
Well, they said they admired her vision.
That's
Okay.
what I'm saying. I can see it because Bill Clinton all of a sudden he just loved black people. You know, that whole thing.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going what, 4:30, y'all?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, here we go.
Go ahead.
All right. Living life with no purpose. Many of our youth and adults are living life with no purpose. They have no idea that they have to answer for their actions in this world. Allah made mankind the vicegerent of the earth. We are the deputy in charge of the earth, right? But a lot of us don't know it, right? Verily, never will Allah change the condition of a people until they change it themselves within their own souls, right? I'm going to skip this just because of time, all right? Because I'm trying to get to something. Oh, should I skip it? Oh, Lord. Oh, goodness gracious. I'll let you hear this one.
Yeah, put it in there.
You said put it in there?
Yeah.
I wanted to put it in there with the Native American brother. That's not important. All right, y'all. Here we go.
You can always go back.
We go back.
If I were the devil.
This was a guy named Harvey. I think it was Paul Harvey. Yeah, Paul Harvey. And he had a radio show, and he did this on his show. He said, if I were the devil. Okay? Now, remember, this was like 1960 something. All right? That he said this. All right? If I were the devil.
If I were the devil. If I were the prince of darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness, and I'd have 1/3 of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree. V. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States. I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of the serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve. Do as you please.
Do as you please. Remember that. Remember that.
I know where this is going. I know where this is going.
We're going to make a big connection, right?
To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And the old I would teach to pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington. And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies, and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames. If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions. Just let those run wild. Until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door.
19.
When was this?
I think it was 65. Don't quote me on that. 1960. I know it was
Within a decade,
Okay.
I'd have prisons overflowing. I'd have judges promoting pornography. Soon I could evict.
Now, crazy that he said that, right? In Canada, they made a ruling that bestiality was okay as long as it was oral.
Oh.
Okay?
God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress. And in his own churches, I would substitute psychology for religion and deify science. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd make the symbol of Easter an egg and the symbol of Christmas a bottle. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious. And what'll you bet? I couldn't get whole states to promote gambling as the way to get rich. I would caution against extremes in hard work, in patriotism, in moral conduct. I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned, that swinging is more fun, that what you see on TV is the way to be. And thus I could undress you in public, and I could lure you into bed with diseases for which there is no cure. In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what he's doing.
Wow. Right? Like he was sitting, like he was just sitting right in the middle of the society.
Boys.
Yeah.
But you know, I'll tell you the thing that really gets me, and I'll bring it back to the most recent times.
Mm-hmm.
See Dolores Tucker.
Mm-hmm. Woo! Yeah, I got one on that one. Go on, good brother. Yeah.
I said, I just want to pull some things up. Her own community fought against her.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And Tupac in his song, he said, Dolores Tucker, UMF.
Yeah.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that, you know, one of the things, and this is really good, my wife was saying before we came up, and, you know, we were talking about some things, is that we have to, as it says that those who fail to remember their past are doomed to repeat it.
Absolutely.
And I think that it's important that in issues like this, we have to go back into the community, and we have to start waking people up. We have to do it. Like there's no other way to like go about doing it. And I'm gonna tell you, when this really began to dawn on me, for years you can do whatever you want, like in the community. Don't come around Muslims, they'll get you.
That's right.
Now, what happened over the past year within the Islamic community? There's been at least 3 shootings within our community. I'm saying at our events.
Mm-hmm.
3 shootings. Now I can go back to the 80s, maybe late 70s, early 80s. Had that happened in the black community, whoever was responsible would have been found dead the next morning.
Exactly.
No evidence buts about it.
No, that's right.
So when you talked about religion and that, I was forced to ask myself, they use religion to enslave us. We're doing a great job of it now. Because when I listen to the Islamic community, I'm so hurt by it, because what has happened is that even the Islamic community now has taken on the same mentality as what we see up there.
Oh.
Can I put a
You
little
know what?
check in
Go ahead, sister.
Mm.
I was involved in 2 of those shootings from Clara Muhammad last year and this year. What I'm seeing is, this is a reality. It's not supposed to be. But there's 2 groups. People coming from the Nation of Islam into Wafdi Muhammad and following that. Then you have this other group who's basically coming from foreign Muslim teaching. Salafiyah, I'm saying a point like Salafiyahs. Those shootings that happened were initiated by Salafiyahs. From what I get from Salafiyahs is Salafiyahs are very angry. From the countries that they come from, they're very angry with everybody. Nobody's right except Salafiyahs. And they're very angry. And a lot of them, the leadership that I have been involved with, have been, because I've walked out a couple things, the stuff they were saying was so offensive to me.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't mean to hurt. I just got to say it is what I feel. We have a different mentality coming from Wafdi Muhammad. I'm starting at that point, although we basically came from his father, who was to clean us up, and Islam was going to be taught by Imam Wafdi Muhammad. So that is a different mentality, because we're really challenging Eastern foreign-born Muslims who trying to really capture our community in the West.
All right, y'all. The presentation was supposed to be over at 4. We got a late start, so we went to 4:30. But can we go a little bit longer?
Yes.
Hey,
A little bit longer.
Yes.
Hey, man, you gotta
Okay,
finish
you
it.
respond,
You gotta
and then
finish
I'm going to
this.
respond
Yeah.
to what y'all saying.
I think you're absolutely correct about that. And the only solution is that we have to get involved. I was talking to brothers before the situation even happened at the end, stuff like that. And we get out, I'll get out there, but who's going to take care of my family if something happens to me?
Yeah, it's a different
This was
mentality.
but now, the brothers that was in the 70s, I mean, most of them are gone. I mean, we know what they was about, right? But also, not just them. The good brothers would handle certain situations too. Maybe not as harsh. Am I right? Not as hard. If the good, I mean, you'll survive or whatever, but the examples that was set, that's what put the fear into those who were supposed to be, how can I say?
Our opposers.
I want to be direct. Kingpins or drug. Well, they set the example by, actually taking their parts of their body and putting in different parts of the city. I don't know if y'all know about that. That was the best example. That put fear into it.
Oh, I remember.
Now, who was that? What was the
Sam Christian?
You mean the group?
Like the
No, it was
so-called
his clique.
the so-called Black Mafia.
Sam
Yeah,
Christian.
yeah, the book is out.
Bayer.
Yeah, I know.
So here we go. How much time y'all get?
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, brother. We go outside and do this because it's nice.
I skipped past some stuff because I thought it was, important that we touch on. And look, we got enough information to be here for a while. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna skip ahead and we'll go back because I want you to see this real quick. All right. So here we go. Because y'all made some very excellent points. And I want you to remember this, that this system studies the human brain and how it operates. So they best know how to manipulate us. Okay? But now watch this.
Stop. Pay attention. Take a look at this crowded waiting room. These people may appear to be waiting for the eye doctor, but they're actually waiting for the first test subject in our hidden camera experiment. And here she is, right on time for her 12 o'clock appointment.
Hi, how are you doing?
This woman thinks she's here for a free eye exam.
Have you been here before? No, it's my first time.
What she doesn't know is that everyone else in this room is working for us.
I'll be with you in just a couple minutes.
Today we're running an experiment on social conformity, and the test starts now.
Now, this show is called Brain Games. All right? And they do these little experiments, but it's not just for entertainment, believe you me. All right, here we go.
Did you hear that? These people sure did. It doesn't take long for our test subject to notice a pattern. Beep means stand up. But why? And if you were in her shoes, what would you do the next time the tone sounds? While you might think you make your decisions all on your own, when it comes to peer pressure, all too often, your brain is just following the crowd. It's all around you, every day, an invisible force you're probably not even aware of. It affects what you do, how you think, and who you are. It's called social conformity, or peer pressure. And while it might not sound like a good thing, it's actually not so bad. The truth is, your brain craves synchronicity and takes comfort in the ease and efficiency of just going with the flow. And whether it's simply knowing what to wear in the morning, supporting your team...
And Allah tells us in the Quran that the beings on this earth live in communities, right?
at the big game, or even marching off to war. We're all programmed to be part of the group, and that's because your brain knows that there's power in numbers. We set up a hidden camera experiment to see if this woman would stand up at the sound of this tone, simply because everyone else is. You might be thinking you'd never go along with this. Or would you? After just 3 beeps, and without knowing why she's doing it, this woman is now conforming perfectly to the group. But what happens if we take the group away?
Elaine, please.
Okay, now she's alone. The crowd is gone, and nobody is watching her, except our hidden cameras. What do you think she'll do?
What do you think she'll do?
She was stand up.
She was
She
in there.
knows she's programmed. Yeah, they got it good.
She's now conforming to the rules of the group without them even being there. Now, watch what happens when we introduce another outsider who doesn't know the rules.
Have a seat, and they'll be out in just a couple minutes. Thanks so much. Everybody was doing it.
Think she'll teach the new guy what to do? We kept the cameras rolling as more unsuspecting patients arrived.
Oh, here come assistant. What you think she gonna do?
She might follow the group.
You say she not gonna do it?
Oh, that's just like the
And slowly
mosquitoes.
but surely, what began as a random rule for this woman has now become the social norm for everyone in this waiting room. Here to explain what's going on in their brains is Jonah Berger of the University of Pennsylvania.
This sort of internalized form of herd behavior is part of what we call social learning. Starting at a very early age, when we see members of our group perform a task, our brains literally reward us for following in their footsteps.
When I saw everybody stand up, I felt like I needed to join them. Otherwise, I'm like excluded. Once I decided to go with it, then I felt much more comfortable.
Conformity is how we become socialized, but it can also cause us to develop bad habits or repeat past wrongs.
And it's why even this rebel, who wasn't standing for any of this nonsense, eventually joined the ranks.
Broke them down. Yeah, nobody want to be left
More
out.
shocking than seeing how easily conformity affects the way you act is that similar forces are subconsciously shaping the way you think right now.
Walaikum salam.
Thank you, good sister. You left everything just like you said. So conform. Definition is a verb to act according to or be obedient to a rule or norm, usually followed by to. To be in harmony or accord, usually followed by with. Right?
Ooh.
Now, the Ummah, defined in English. The Arabic pronunciation is an Arabic word meaning community, right?
I was just ready to say that. What does the term community mean?
A social, religious, occupational, or other group sharing common characteristics or interests, and perceived or perceiving itself as distinct in some respect from the larger society within which it exists. What is the number one challenge facing the African American Muslim community today?
Unity.
You said what?
Unity.
Unity. You agree with unity?
Unity.
Everybody agree with unity? Uh-oh, wait a minute. Sister Till got something different?
I was going to say dependability.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Dependability. Okay. But now, let's look at this. Assessing the state of the African American Muslim community 2023 National Survey. According to a survey conducted in 2023, the number one challenge facing the Ummah in the African American community, among others, is division. Right? Within the community and lack of sense of community, belonging in masjids.
True.
Right?
True.
Okay.
True.
So there you go.
Absolutely true. Exactly.
The Art of War, Sun Tzu. What does it mean to divide and conquer? It means that you set your opponents against each other so as to prevent them uniting against you. To make a group of people disagree and fight with one another so that they will not join together against one common enemy. All right?
Comment.
Go ahead.